In today's show, we're going to do a PowerApps PDF generator. That's right, we're going to take advantage of the power of the Microsoft Flow PDF converter, and we're going to take some inputs from our PowerApps, and we're going to ship that off to OneDrive. We're going to have Flow mix up some stuff, and then spit out a PDF on the other end. So this would be great if you want to make invoices or records of things that people do. Really just trying to make so that your PowerApps can be used for all types of different situations. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with PowerApps 911. Those guys. In today's show, we're going to make a PowerApps PDF generator. So what we're going to do is, a lot of times you build these PowerApps to get rid of paper, whether that be get rid of your time cards, your expense reports, your time off requests, purchase order processes, right? One of the things we're doing with PowerApps is we're automating data collection and getting it stored somewhere. But still on the other end of the equation, we usually have to get that data out and do something with it. So purchase orders are a great example, right? We want to make it so that in PowerApps you can build out a purchase order, go through approval processes, all those fun things. And then when you're done, we want to save that PDF or make that into a PDF and then send it off to the vendor so we can get the thing we approved the order for, right? So this is the exact project I'm doing for a construction company over in the UK. And so I'm not going to show you their whole project clearly, but I wanted to kind of show you guys some of these conceptual pieces of how this works so you guys can also start adding PDFs into the mix. And what we're going to see is that we're actually going to do the bulk of the work over in Microsoft Flow. And the original research was done by a gentleman from down under named John Liu. He is one of the smartest Flow guys I know. And so he has a blog post that I'll link in the comments that walks you through how to do some of the PDF stuff in Flow. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that 7 or 8 steps further. We're going to kind of get into the weeds a little bit because that's what you guys expect out of me, right? We want to be able to do this, and I want you to be able to apply it to your environment. So with all that said, let's just switch over to my desktop and take a look. Okay, so over here on my desktop, the first thing I wanted to show you was this is the PDF we're going to build, right? And so there's a few different weird things in here that I wanted to solve, so I got them all in. And what we're going to do is we're going to include an image. You probably won't make your company logo as big as I did, but Chewy's a big dog. Chewy weighs like 105 pounds, so he needs a big logo. So there's Chewy. Also, it turns out that I had a real hard time this morning with that apostrophe. And since it's Saturday and not a work day, I had a hard time finding someone to tell me how to get around that apostrophe, but I'm going to show you guys how to deal with that. And yeah, so that's what we're going to build. And what's interesting about this whole process is we're actually going to build these, the whole structure. This whole report, this is HTML that we're going to craft. And then once we craft that HTML, we'll generate an HTML file, and then that HTML file will convert to PDF. There's nothing hard about it. The hard part is about getting the HTML to look the way you want. Converting to PDF is child's play. So whatever, right? Enough said. We will close out of this. We will go over here. I'm going to delete the Chewy PDF I just showed you. This HTML file, we'll talk about that, but I'm going to delete that. So then that way, all we've got in our OneDrive folder is the Chewy logo file that we're going to need in a bit. All right. And so really the first challenge is you've got to make the HTML. Now, if you've been doing HTML forever, you're like, no problem. I did HTML, but it was forever ago. So for me, I went out to good old W3 schools and said, hey, help me do some HTML. And so what I found, and I'll leave a link to this page down below, is I went to their little HTML tables examples. And so they have one here that has an HTML table adding a border. And it said, try it yourself. So I hit this button and it made me a table through some text. I was like, perfect. I can take that, right? I can work from this and throw in some of the pieces that we need so that we can generate HTML and then we can start pulling in data from PowerApps. Okay? So what I did real quick right here is I went up here. Actually, I'm not even going to bother teaching you the HTML, right? Let's just ignore that. I'm going to jump over. I'm going to grab my HTML and just paste it right in. So let's go over here. Okay, so then let's just go over here. We'll do a little Control A, delete that out, paste this in, hit run. So there you can see, oh, looks like in this example I used the other logo, but it's all right. We'll come back to Chewy's logo. And so this is the HTML that they'd given us. I just adapted a little bit. So I added this image tag right here. And so that's how we got the image up there. And then all I did was I just changed the words to be Chewy's dog food report and, a little structure. So it's what day of the week did he get the food? Did he have it for breakfast or dinner? And how much did he eat was 2 cups. Yes, if you're into dog nutrition, I probably overfeed him, but he's a horse. He wants food. I'm not starving my dog. Leave me alone. Okay? So this is how I crafted the HTML though. So if you're not really up to it, you can also use other tools to build the HTML. I don't care how you do it. But what we need is a bunch of valid HTML. Okay? So we're going to grab all this HTML. We'll copy it out now that we know we're good with it. And we're going to go over to Flow and say, let's create from blank. We're going to create from blank again. And so what I want you guys to do when you start is I always use the button trigger. This is one of the things my Flow friends have taught me because it's real easy for me just to press the button and try out because we're going to build this and eventually PowerApps is going to be our trigger, but this is going to get us moving in that direction. So manually trigger the flow by pressing a button. New step, add an action. And so what do we want to do? Well, we want to do the simplest thing first. So we're going to go to OneDrive for Business and we're just going to create a file. So there is create file. And what folder do I want to do it in? I'm going to browse down to my Flow demo folder because I've been littering my other one. And we're just going to call this video.html. And then what are the file contents? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to Flow and we're going to click on expressions. And what I want to do is I want to use the concat expression. Okay. We don't actually need it at this moment, but we're going to use it in a second. So we're just going to start from there so we can kind of build through. So, right, I'm inside the parentheses and then I'm inside the single quotes, right? You see the cursor, it's very important in the right spot. And now I'm just going to paste all that HTML in, right? And so the last two is single parenthesis and, or single quote and parenthesis. We go to the top, it is concat, parenthesis, boom. Everything else is just my HTML, okay? It's spread across a whole bunch of lines. It's crazy, whatever. We say, okay. And it's going to say my expression is invalid. Okay, so I cursed about this a whole bunch earlier. So we're going to go down a few lines. I'm just going to keep hitting the down arrow and it's just show me line by line. So what it is that I did apostrophe Chewy's dog, right? So I did proper grammar. Apparently PowerApps and Flow do not like proper grammar. Bah! No problem. So what you have to do is you have to escape out of that apostrophe because apostrophe is how you distinguish different strings in a Flow expression. So long story short, add a second apostrophe right here. Boom. Say okay now. Yeah. So that's how you escape out if you need to have apostrophes in your HTML. All right? So hit save. Let's give our flow a name. Video, go up here, we'll say video make PDF, just like that. All right, so we'll save it again. All right, so then now we're gonna do a test, right? Because we wanna learn this in baby steps because when you guys are doing this at home, right? It's real easy for me to just do it all in one fell swoop, but that's not how you're really going to do it when you're learning. So I wanted to walk through the same way you're going to. Okay, so we're just going to run this flow. Your flow successfully started. That flow didn't successfully run, it successfully started. It takes you to this screen. Flow ran successfully, check, check. Go over here to OneDrive. We'll refresh our folder. Boom, video HTML. And so we're going to click on this file. And so we see Chewy's dog food report, right? We got our single apostrophe. So yay, proper grammar. Everything you want to know. So everything looks good except the logo didn't work, right? So this is, this was expected by me this time. It wasn't expected the first time I did this. But what it is basically PowerApps and OneDrive, it doesn't know what to do with what we just created. So we're going to X out of there, right? And let's go back to our flow and let's fix the logo. So we're going to say edit. And so what we want to do is we're going to add an action and we're going to get that logo off of our OneDrive, right? So we're going to say, we'll click on OneDrive. We're going to say we want to get the file. Scroll down a little bit, get file content right there. Boom. What file do we want to get? So we're going to drill in here, right? And this is not going to be dynamic because we're always just pulling that picture of Chewy. So we're going to Chewy. So there we go. Chewy's PNG file. That's the file we want to get. All right. So now we've got the file. Now, one of the things that we haven't talked about much here, we've talked about a little bit before, but not too much, is the fact that SharePoint actually stores image files in a weird format. And so when you want to work with these image files in Flow, like if you're having Flow writing it, like I showed in one of the previous videos, Flow had to convert the file formats right when it sent it over to SharePoint. Right? OneDrive is also SharePoint. So when we get it back, we're going to have to do a little conversion as well. So to do that conversion, what we're going to do is we're going to type in variable. And so we want to do a initialize a variable. We're going to create a variable that has the converted version because this get file contents is not valid yet. And so what we're going to do, we're going to name it logo. What type of variable? Well, we're just going to put the logo into a string. And so what we're going to use is an expression called data URI. So just like that. And we say, all right, what value do we want to pass to the data URI? I'm glad you asked. And what we're going to pass to it is that file content. All right, so that is the file content that we just got out of from here, right? So that's the file content of Chewy. We're going to pass it this function, and it's going to store all the 1s and 0s and 5s and 12s that it makes. Oh, but it does not like the extra. Okay, I hear you. But it's going to store all the pieces. We're just going to get rid of these extra quotes I put in. My bad. It's like that. But it's going to store all that into a string. And so then down here, okay, so remember our dear concat, we need to go down here now. We're going to say instead of using that crazy image that we just got, we want to use that variable that we just had. All right. So one of the ways that you might find this easier to do is if you go right here to file name, right, click on logo, that's going to put this here. If you click on the logo now, it'll show you the expression. No, I'm just kidding. But if you hover over it, that's what I meant to say. If you hover over it and you say variables, you see that syntax, variables, and then parentheses, single quote, logo. That's the syntax to call that particular variable. Okay, got it? Put that in your head, put it in your memory bank. So when we go down here to concat, we're now going to go in here and we're going to adjust this. So we're going to scroll down to where that image is. So I'm just pressing down a whole bunch. And so there is our image source. So we want to replace everything that is in the HTTPS. So I'm going to hold down the shift key. I'm going to start scrolling sideways. Going to keep scrolling sideways. Goodness gracious. I stole that image from a hard place to steal stuff from. Oh, went too far. Go back. Okay, so I've highlighted everything from HTTP to JPEG, right? So we're going to delete that out. So then now my source is just quote, quote. There's nothing in there, so our source is blank. We don't want that. So what do we want to do? Well, this is why we use the concatenate function, because we need to take the text that we had, right, the HTML we had, and we're going to break it. So we're going to say, all right, put a single quote in here. So that means I'm all done with that first set of stuff. Put a comma, and then this silly thing's going to pop up. We're going to make it go away eventually. There we go. And then we want to put a single quote in front of this. So then now this, if we hit update, right, check yourself, because this is a great time to make sure that we did this right. But if we did this right, this is just going to concatenate the string again. And if we say update and it accepts it, we know we got it right. Yay us. So now go to concatenate again. Scroll all the way back down to where we were. There it is. Okay, so there's our blank spot. So we want to put something else in there. So we're going to put a comma. We're going to tell that little thing to go away. And so then right in here, what we need to do is we need to do our variables. And then, the help flow, you're annoying. I don't know how else to say it. I should say it nicely, but I can't. It's annoying. So we're going to put in our variables logo, right? Remember the thing when we had the variables logo added here, and we hovered and it showed us? That's it. So variables logo, right? There's the name. So if you use a different name up here, then your name would be different. But I think, cross my fingers, I got this right. All right, so once again, let's check ourselves. So say save, and then we'll do another test. Boom, test succeeded last time. Let's save and test again. All right, after a second or two, my flow ran successfully. So then we'll go back over here. We'll do a refresh. Boom. All right, so this is important, right? We've got valid HTML. This was the hard part for me, was getting valid HTML that had an image. I had a single quote in Chewy's name up there. And so now we're just going to plug and play. Oh. All right, if you've been sweating like I am, I'm kind of sweating down here. That's okay. We've done all the hard stuff. Now it's just a bunch of easy stuff, right? Whew, good job, you. Maybe it's not completely true. Maybe there's a couple more tricky things, but we'll still be positive. All right. So let's go back over here. And so let's edit our flow. So now that we have done this, now let's convert that HTML file to a PDF. This you're going to like, because this is super easy. You did the hard part. I told you. Add an action. We're going to click on OneDrive for Business. And there, right there at the top is convert a file using path. I think that's the one I like to use. It is. So what's my file path? Well, we're going to click on this. Oh, no, not click on that. We're going to click right here. And so from the create file action, look, there's a dynamic content called path. Boom, done. What type do you want us to convert to? Well, you can choose any option you want as long as it's PDF, because that's the only option we have. So convert from path to PDF. Now, another thing that tripped me up a little bit was that I've converted the file, but I haven't created a file with the conversion. So another step, add another action, another OneDrive. And also remember that I keep doing this. I'm doing this all with OneDrive, but you could be using SharePoint. You could be, using Google Drive. Well, not Google Drive, but you got to do it somewhere where the files work. And OneDrive has all these conversion pieces. So that's why I do all this in OneDrive, even though OneDrive might not be the final home, because now I could say go create it in a SharePoint or somewhere else. But what I'm going to do here is we're going to say we want to create a file. What folder do I want? I'm going to browse in here to my folders. All right, we're going to use my Flow demo folder. Boom. What name we're going to say? We're going to call it Chewy made this.pdf. Boom. What is your file content? Dynamic content to the rescue. There is file content, right? It's pulling file content from the convert. Pretty cool. We'll hit save. We will say, let's do a test. We'll use data from our previous run, and we'll say save and test. All right, after 5 or so seconds, I got a drink of tea. It looks like it has successfully created. So let's go over to OneDrive, do a refresh. Chewy made this.pdf. Let's click on it, cross your little fingers. Boom! We have made a PDF from the HTML that we generated. Now we haven't incorporated PowerApps, so that's what's next. But this to me is a really big deal, right? And keep in mind that we're going to go do this now. So let's X out of here. But you have the guts. So if you understand what's happened here, right? You went and boned up on your HTML so you could do this. We're going to go show how to get some data out of PowerApps, but you could be generating reports based on data over in SQL Server or from CDS or, from MailChimp or some Twitter, whatever you want, right? Because now you understand in Flow how to make PDFs. So we're PowerApps nerds here though. So let's go over and check out now how we get PowerApps into the mess here. So over here, let's say, oh, the test lab. Can't wait to show you guys that one. We're not ready to do that today. Let's go into apps and let's create an app. All right, and we're gonna make a tablet layout and we're gonna make the lamest app ever because we wanna do this in a very short amount of time. So what I'm gonna do is we're going to insert a text input. And so we'll just get rid of the default text altogether. Boom. And then we'll say, we'll throw a label on here so it makes some more sense. How much food did Chewy eat? Oh, gotta spell Chewy right though, Shane. Chewy eat. Okay. Easy enough. And then we're going to have a button. And so this button, we want this button to run our flow for us. So we're going to go back over to Flow, and we're going to say, all right, manual trigger, you were really helpful. You made testing go really fast. Thanks to Vivek for that tip. So delete that out. And now what we want is we want the PowerApps connector. All right, we don't have to do anything special with our Flow. We're just going to fix it on the fly. So that's why I use that button trigger though, because that was faster than testing, by kicking it off from PowerApps. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, PowerApps, we want to request data from you. So let's go down here, and then we're going to update our HTML to include the data out of PowerApps. All right, so first pro trick here, jump onto a different field. So I'm just going to use file name, and I'm going to say, hey, ask in PowerApps. Okay, so it just created a variable in PowerApps called create file underscore file name. And so if you hover, right, you can see that that is the fanciful syntax for that particular guy. Now, if you're like, wait a minute, that's a lot of stuff to copy down this time. No problem. Go here to expressions. Type in the letter X. It doesn't really matter what letter. I always use X. Type in X. Go over to dynamic content. Click create file name. There is the magic stuff you wanted. Yeah, look at that. Saves a whole bunch of typing. So Control C on that. And then we'll just delete all of this. We'll delete this. So now we have stored on the clipboard, right, our the syntax of the PowerApps content, right? That's how we reference the PowerApps content here in Flow. So let's click on Concat now. All right, and you know what? And to make this less insane, I think what we're going to do is we're going to open up Notepad. So grab Notepad. All right, I'm going to paste in, right? So that's that trigger body thing that we just grabbed. We will then switch back over to PowerApps. I really struggled how to show you guys this because this gets a little redonkulous. Control A, Control C, back to Notepad. Okay, right, so we pasted back in our whole concat function, right? So starts with concat, should end in a parenthesis. Okay, so that's good. And we know that we now need to insert this into our HTML. So now I'm going to copy this again and put it back in the clipboard, Control C. And so where do we want to put this in? So what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to make that, right? So right now on Tuesday for breakfast, Chewy had 2 cups of food. So what we're going to do is we're going to put right here what we want to get from our friend over in PowerApps. So we'll delete out the 2. And we're going to do a single quote, right? So that tells concat that that string of stuff is done, right? And so we do the comma to say, all right, we want to have some more data. And then we put a single quote right here. And so if we did this, actually, let's validate how we go. Let's go slow. So grab this, Control C, switch back over, Control A, delete, Control V, update. Okay, that works. So we know that our what we have in Notepad is good so far. So let's just stay right there so we don't lose our place. So then now we want to add more, right? So what are we going to do? Well, we need another comma. That's my comma. So whatever's between this commas is what PowerApps is going to, or not PowerApps, what Flow is going to put in here. Well, what do you want Flow to put in here? Oh, not that. Control Z. We want this, right? We want that variable that we had earlier. So we're going to copy that out. We're going to paste this right between these 2 commas, right? So it's like TD, stop the string, insert something else. Whatever comes over from PowerApps, stop that. And then parenthesis means start another string and keep going. Okay, so if I did a good job, which is always questionable, if we copy that out, go back over here, Control A and delete that, and then paste it back in. We're going to click update. Ooh, it worked. Okay, we're going to hit save. All right, that is good. Let's go back to our app. So then now on our button, we're going to say action flows, and there should be video make PDF. That sounds familiar. So it's going to put that in. It says, hey, you need to pass me some data. That's fair, I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass to you whatever the person typed in text input one.txt, right? And that could be a drop-down control. That could be a slider. That could be some form output. It could be straight up text, right? Whatever you want to have, just put some valid stuff here to pass text out of PowerApps back to Flow. All right. Let's hit preview. Let's type in Chewy had 9 cups. He was a hungry hippo. We're going to click the button. We're going to watch the ants march, little dots, doot, 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 doot. All right. We're going to go over to OneDrive. We're going to hit refresh. Chewy made this a few seconds ago. Oh my goodness. Click on the PDF. Mountain cups 9. Yeah! Look at that, guys and girls. We took data that we filled in our PowerApps app and sent that to Flow and then had a PDF come out the other end. Mind blown. That is so cool. That is so awesome. And that's it. That's the video for today, right? That was what I wanted to show you guys. That took me, I don't want to talk about how long all that took me to work out, figure out. And so I want to come in and bring it in and show to you guys. Now, don't get frustrated because I'm not going to lie to you. Even with these exact instructions, you're going to get frustrated because you make I got a parenthesis out of place or I got a comma out of place or I forget how to write HTML. That's okay. Trudge through, watch the video over and over again. Go in baby steps. You guys can do this. So I also apologize. The video is a little bit longer than I wanted, but hopefully this was worth all the fun and excitement. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you can hit me up in the comments below. You can tweet me at Shane's Cows. If you want to work together, if you want me to build this for you and build a crazy complicated solution like I'm doing for the construction company that's generating purchase orders with approvals and blah, 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 PowerApps 911. We get a few people that have some leads there. So hit us up there as well. All right. Other than that, it's Saturday, so I'm going to stop this so I can hopefully go hit some golf balls or something. But thanks, and have a great day. Hey, it's me again. If you got a second, click the subscribe button. That always keeps me making more videos. Or if you want to work together, need some help getting your Power Apps going, hit me up at PowerApps 911. Always happy to work together. Or finally, if you're really just looking for more videos, that's probably what it is. Check out the Power Apps playlist over here and enjoy that. All right, thanks, and have a great day.